you never know, I could really shock both myself and you into actually finishing that book, because hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of another weekly vlog, and this week I'm excited because I have quite a few kind of like room decor things that I want to do. Not specifically for like Christmas or anything like that, but just a space that I've had above my bed which I really want to just decorate, and I've had these postcards for absolutely ages. I want to do another one of those ghost thrift paintings, and of course we need to read this week. So the book I want to read is The Labyrinth's Heart by M.A. Carrick. This is the third book in the Rock and the Rose trilogy. If you've been watching my previous vlogs, you'd know that I've been slowly making my way through this series. I started this in September, reread the first book in September, read the second book last month in October, and now I'm going to be reading the third and final book. I really love this trilogy. It's such a good fantasy series, and I definitely think it doesn't get the hype it deserves. There is a lot going on, so it is quite a complex plot line and politics, and there's a few different characters to follow, but I think it's really worth it. I really enjoy this. So this is set in kind of like a Venetian inspired setting, which is amazing setting, and we're following Ren, and Ren is a con artist, believes that her and her sister, you know, they've had enough. Like, they're constantly having to deal with the dregs of society, trying to con their way into things, and so she's like, you know what, no, I'm going to pull off this last con so that we are then set up for life. And so she decides that she is going to impersonate a noble in the society to gain access to this house, to then be put into their family charter, so that she then has access to those funds and she can support her and her sister easily. It's really good, really complex. That's the base. We then get a lot more going on. So as part of this con, Ren ends up involved in a lot of the politics of the upper society and realising there's a lot of things going on that aren't quite as they seem. Then we have this second plot line in the first book where these children are going missing and then coming back unable to sleep, and there's a lot of like nightmare magic involved, and Ren feels a lot of pull towards that because she grew up. She is those children, the forgotten children, the children that nobody cares about, and she's like, I want to try and stop this. And so she gets involved and puts on a third persona. Well, she has herself, the noble persona, and then a second persona where she kind of takes on this I can't remember the name for it, how to pronounce it, Varisian, who are seen as lower as far as our upper society is concerned, equivalent to a tarot reader to try and uncover what is going on. So she's then caught up in that plot line. We also have a vigilante that goes on. There is so much, but it is really good. Plus this world is so inclusive. I feel like that's something I always forget to talk about, and then when I go into the books I'm just like, oh, it's so good. You have this whole setting of society where pretty much anyone, you can be anyone you want. Nobody cares what sort of relationship you're in. Nobody cares if you transition your gender. Like, it is such a normal thing in society. It's so accepted, and I feel like not many fantasy books do that. Because it's the norm, I always forget to talk about it. There's just so much that goes on. You've got the tarot magic, there's like three different magic systems. You've got tarot magic, you've got the ability to imbue items, and you've also got this magic that's kind of around kind of astrology and physics, and it's an unusual one, but I really like it, and you explore that a lot more in the second book. In the first book it's a lot more about the tarot based magic and imbuing things. I just love it. I loved the way it was going. The second book is probably my favourite. I really enjoyed all the different plot avenues, the way things were all building, and I'm really excited to see how it's all going to wrap up in this book. There's been a lot of reveals, a lot of characters know the different things that are going on. We had plot twist after plot twist at the end of the first book, and then in the second book there was just so many more plot twists. It was really good. Absolutely loved this series, so I am going to be reading this one this week. However, I have also downloaded it on Kindle. The formatting of this book is absolutely tiny, and while I do enjoy reading physical books, I know on an early shift I'm going to be finishing work and I'm going to be really too tired to focus on this teeny tiny writing. So I've got it on Kindle. I'll probably start off reading the physical book and maybe just do a mismatch between Kindle and the physical book. But yeah, I love this. I'm very excited to finish it. It was one of the series that I needed to finish this year. I've got so many series I'm in the middle of, so I really want to start prioritizing finishing series, and this is one that, yeah, is really, really good. Highly recommend. It's very intricate but really well done. So yeah, would recommend, as I've said. But yeah, then as I said, this week I've got lots of like little room stuff I want to do. So I think today, because it's my day off and then I start my 4 early shifts, I'm going to do some of the thrift painting. That's the plan. And then go from there with decorating my room maybe a bit later in the week or something. But it's just like little things that I've just been putting off for ages. Figured today I could spend the day editing the vlog that I filmed. Like I just got back off holiday and I could spend my afternoon doing all of that. And then I thought, why not just give myself a relaxing afternoon, like a relaxing day before I go back to work, and just spend the time playing Animal Crossing, because I did loads of that while I'm on holiday, so I'm loving being back on that. So I definitely want to spend a bit of time playing Animal Crossing, spend a bit of time reading, and then also just like decorate and doing these little things that I've been wanting to do for a little while. And then when we go back to work, then we can start getting back into the rhythm of editing and doing things like that after I've taken a week off. I think that's going to be the plan. I hope you enjoyed this week. I hope you're all doing really, really well. Let me know what you've been up to and what you're reading. And let's get started with this vlog. Good evening. I am back from work and honestly I've got a bit of a cold. I'm feeling a lot better. I woke up feeling really rough. I'm feeling a lot better, which is nice. It means I'm over the worst of it, which is good because I don't normally stay ill for long unless I get really ill. It's just a tiny little head cold, probably because, you know, last week 26-degree weather, this week, well, not that, it's a lot colder, but it has meant I really haven't read much. I was really hoping to make loads of progress with Labyrinth's Heart and I haven't. I have made it to page 139, chapter 7, and I am really enjoying this book, but I feel really like brain foggy, so I'm not able to concentrate. And also I found, especially like this last little bit that I read, like chapter 6, feels like there's been a lot of jumps between different things. So like we're seeing different scenarios that are happening. So like one that's not really much of a spoiler, there's like this trial thing that's going on. I'm not going to give you anything more than that. It's not trials like to the death trials. It's a more fun, light-hearted sense of trials that's a little bit more like nobility, intrigue and stuff. It's good fun. But I feel like we had the mention of the idea and then nothing came of it. There was no more mentions of it, and then all of a sudden we're at the first trial, which I was like, what happened here? Where is that connecting scene that we needed of the event being made, like, and the announcement being made that this event was going ahead? Like, where was that? Because we definitely didn't get that. And there's been a few other things like where we seem to end on like cliffhangers. Like there's multiple perspectives in this book, which is fine. Different perspectives are, I mean, they change within chapters, but they are signified by this little thing in the page. So if you have that, it means that generally you're changing perspective. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you're changing like time, so the small time jump, but I feel like there's a lot where we're ending with a character where it's ending on something that I would have liked to have seen, and then the next time we get to them it's past, it's happened, and we never got to see it actually happen. We're told it happened but not able to see it happen, which I can't think of a better way to describe brain fog, like it's not working. Yeah, it's a bit frustrating because I'm still enjoying it. I'm still having a good time. I'm very much a character driven person. I really enjoy the characters in this. I really enjoy the setting, but it's just those little things which I have said about every single book that stop it from being like that ultimate 5-star read for me, is these time jumps and scene jumps. And it will be little things where I'm like, it wouldn't take much to give us that connecting paragraph, but we just don't seem to get it. It was present in the first book in one particular scene. It was present in the second book in one particular scene. But the third book, I feel like there's a lot more. And there is a lot more things going on. There's a lot of plates spinning. We've got different plot lines that we're all trying to wrap up because this is the last book. And I do get that. But at the same time, I would rather have had a longer book with those connecting scenes than without the scenes. I suppose some people could see it as, well, those are filler, do we really need it? But I feel like if you've got a scene where someone's like, okay, this is going to happen, or I'm going to say this to this person, and then we don't see them saying it to that person, it then just doesn't feel like it's actually happened. And I feel like we've just moved on and it's not been acknowledged again. And I don't know if I really like that. So I don't know, because it's like there was this bit in the trial where at the end of the trial something happened. 2 characters that were meant to be a part of this like ceremony to say who's gone through to the next trial wasn't there. And we know why they weren't there, but there was never anything with our other main character going, oh, you didn't turn up, like you weren't there, what happened? Like there was none of that. And so I feel like, yes, as a reader we know what's going on, but the other characters, we never see them interacting and learning what's going on. I don't know if any of that's making sense, but I just feel like there's missing scenes in this, and it's been a lot of like jumping around to different things. It's not a big deal, but it's an irritation where every so often I'm like, wait, what? And then I'm going back and I'm like, no, we definitely didn't have that scene. Like, is it because I'm tired and I'm not focusing, or is it just because it's not there? And it's because it's not there. And I would have really liked to have seen that. Unfortunately not. Like, we had this whole thing where Ren was going to plan out the trials and she was gonna like do all these different things, but we never saw her planning any of the trials. We never saw any of that. And so I'm like, but I get you were going to do that, but why aren't we're being told and not shown? And that's kind of irritating. You'll have to let me know if you've read this one, if you like just the series in general, whether you ever noticed those like little missing scenes. I'm not sure. I want to carry on and read more of this because I am really enjoying it, regardless of that point where I'm like, that's a negative of the book. That's probably like the only negative I've got at the moment. So I am really enjoying this. However, as I said, I am feeling a bit under the weather, and as much as I'm feeling better, I'm also feeling very tired. I haven't slept well for the last 2 nights either. So I really just want to chill and play maybe a bit of Animal Crossing, but I would like to read something. I just don't know. I really wanted to focus on this and get this done because I want to film my November wrap up on Friday, and I would love for this to be a part of it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like, this book is just over 600 pages. That's not going to happen. I am way too behind for that. So instead, I think I'm going to change up and read Shady Hollow by Janu Black. This is a book that loads of you have been wanting me to read and thinking I'm going to really like it. It is a cute, cozy mystery, and we're following animals. We have Vera Vixen, who is our detective. We have this, is it natural murder that happens? Yes. So it's a quiet small town village and then a murder happens, and we have Vera that is trying to solve it. And we have more books in the series, and I think this is kind of what I need. Like, the writings, the formatting of it's really nice, and it's only like just over 200 pages, and I feel like this would be just a really cute, cozy thing that I can have with a cup of tea, read a bit of this, play a bit of Animal Crossing, and just try and sleep. So I think that is the plan for today. I would still like to make more progress on Labyrinth's Heart. I've still got it on Kindle, so I'll take my Kindle to work, see if I can read a bit more on my lunch break. But even on my lunch breaks, I haven't really been reading it because I've just been too worn out. We'll see, but I think I'm gonna swap and just do a cozy read instead because I'm really worn out. We'll just see. Hopefully in the next couple of days I can feel a lot better and still get this one finished by the end of the week, just maybe not in time for the November wrap up, but we'll see. Which I've said a lot. I'm gonna go. I feel like I've repeated myself a lot. Hopefully editing Kirsten can make this like tighter and nice. I know I've just repeated myself so many times. Maybe an early night is in order as well. That's smart. I completely forgot to say my ghost painting. I'm really pleased with how this turned out actually. It was a really nice relaxing time. So this was a print I picked up at a charity shop for like £1 and I really liked it. I think it was lovely on its own, but I'm also really pleased with all the additions that I made. I'm very happy. I've got one more that I would like to do the ghost painting thing too, but that won't be this week. That'll probably be December or something. But yeah, I'm really pleased. I really love doing this. It is so much fun and so easy to do. But yes, I really enjoyed doing that. But now I'm gonna go. Let's just ignore the whole fact that I have had a shower and I look very tired, because I kind of am. Yesterday evening I didn't do any of the things I said I was going to do. I didn't Animal Crossing, I didn't read Shady Hollow. Instead I went to bed at 6:30 of an evening and slept for 11 hours. I feel so much better today. I feel like I definitely sound like I have a cold, but apart from a sore throat, I feel so good and I'm so happy, and I wasn't planning on updating, hence why I had the shower and took off all my makeup and everything. Normally if I'm going to update, I'll update before I shower when I get home from work, so you know, I at least look presentable rather than this. But you know what, it doesn't matter, because it really doesn't matter, because tonight hang on a minute, let me get my thoughts in order, because I am doing this all out of order. So yesterday I didn't read anything. Today at work I did take Shady Hollow to work with me, thinking, oh, I'll start it today and I'll finish it over the next couple of days, because honestly I was looking at what I've read in November and it's not much. It's really not much. I think November might be one of, if not the lowest amount of books that I've read this year is what I meant to say. Except when I was starting this, I was reading like just the start of it, the prologue, and it's very cute and very whimsical, and I went, no, I'm not in the mood for that. I know if I'd read this last night I would have loved it. I was in the mood for something cutesy, heartwarming, making me feel better when I'm feeling really rubbish. I didn't want that today. I know I'm gonna love this, but I really have to be in that feel good, cutesy mood to like want that. So instead I picked up Labyrinth's Heart. Thankfully I took my Kindle as well, so I had both. And I'm now up to page 162. So we're still not making much progress with this. I know I made the comment yesterday about how things are... I'm holding you, hence why the thing might be a bit shaky. I was saying about how things feel like they're jumping around. It turns out we do get the scenes, but I don't know whether it's just the Kindle edition, but it seems like the scenes are in the wrong order. I was saying how I wish there was a connecting paragraph or something to connect it together, and we do get that, and it was literally like page and a half. But it was way after all these other events, and like things like the events of the second trial and the lead up to the second trial, like it all seems to be out of order. I don't know if that's a Kindle or if that's just this book. I might have a little flick through this evening, because I am feeling a lot better, so I don't plan on sleeping like now like I did yesterday, and just see whether it is in general that's the way the book is done and that it feels a little bit out of order. I mean, that could just be me, but it does feel a little bit out of order. However, today I did get, let me show you. We're going to ignore the mess of my room. I need to tidy it up, but it's not happening. But I got this, and this is a bookshelf, which is going to go in this space here. And I also have like lots of things that I just want to store away and have a place for, rather than it just being left all over the place. Like my room is it's quite a decent sized room, but it's so cluttered with the amount of stuff I've got in here, and so it's kind of my goal to start getting things looking a bit better and just having things a bit more organized for myself. So I'm really tempted to start putting that together today, which should I? No, because you know I am getting over a cold, but at the same time I'm also like, but surely it won't take that long to put together, and it can't be that hard. Like I've done other bookshelves, so it can't be that hard. So I might just do it, and then once it's up, we'll get to reading Labyrinth's Heart. So I think that's the plan. Obviously, I'll film me doing it, and we'll see how much I actually get done. Could this have waited until Friday when I'm actually off? Yes. Am I going to wait? No, because I have zero patience and we need to get started. So let's go and put together that. And honestly, I feel like this vlog is turning into hardly any reading, but definitely some room organization, because I want to organize this wall over here above my bed and just put stuff together, like with the ghost ship painting thing that I did, and put that up with other stuff by my bed and just change it all up, and I think that'll be really nice. And there's so many little things that I want to do in my room, and I can't do all of it because Christmas is coming up and I can't afford to do all of it at once. And I've been taking my time with doing it because I want to plan it all, and I'm finally deciding how I want things to be, and so we're slowly making those changes, and I feel like that's what this week's going to be, is just actually sorting out this room a little bit. That's me rambling. Let's go put together this bookshelf, and hopefully it doesn't take me that long. Fingers crossed. I am feeling so much better. I feel like it has been a hell of a time since I last updated, and I don't think it's actually been that long, but oh my god. Let's just start at the beginning. So obviously I had a head cold. I was feeling quite under the weather, but I felt a bit better that evening that I decided to put together the bookcase. I still haven't actually put any books on that bookcase yet. I haven't done anything with it. I put it together and was then really tired. Honestly, I should have just left it. It's me. I'm impatient. Of course I didn't leave it. You saw, we got it all done. And then I got so horrendously ill. It was horrible. And I still went to work. I still did that because it was all in my throat. It was a whole time. It was a whole time. I slept again for another like 11 or 12 hours at one of the days. It's been such a roller coaster, and it's been in such a short amount of time, but each of those days has felt so long. It feels like I have lived 3 weeks inside this 1 week, because we started off on a Sunday day off with being honestly really refreshed from the holiday, feeling like I've got loads of plans, loads of things I want to get done, starting to get some of that stuff done, then feeling a little bit ill Monday, Tuesday feeling very ill, Wednesday feeling a bit better, and then Thursday yesterday, oh my god, so ill it was ridiculous. And yet it's like, oh, but it was only a couple days. It felt so much longer. But I was ill enough this week that I never actually uploaded the holiday vlog. I never finished editing it. I feel so bad because that is the first time in like 3 years since I've started this channel that I've missed an upload. And the video itself was one that was frustrating me because nothing turned out the way I wanted it to turn out. It was a bit of a shambles of a video anyway. And then I was ill and I just couldn't face editing it. Like, it was a whole thing. So yeah, so no video actually went up on Friday, and thankfully I am feeling so much better now. I woke up this morning feeling really refreshed. The last few days, like, I honestly couldn't tell you what I've done because I was just in hermit mode. I had tonsillitis. My mum thinks it was a case of tonsillitis. It was so sore. Every time I swallowed anything, like tried to drink a bit of water, anything, and it was like I was having shards of glass go down my throat. It was so painful. Now it's sore, but it's so much better than it was that I'm just like, yeah, I feel great. Fun time. Not what was wanted this week. It has meant that also my reading just hasn't really happened. I've been reading a bit today, and I've read like little bits here and there across the last few days. So I've made a bit more progress with Labyrinth's Heart. I'm now up to page 281, chapter 12, and I'm liking it. I think it's really interesting the way things are coming together. So all of the different things that Ren's had, so she's had a lot of plates spinning throughout this whole series. She's had lots of things going on. In the second book you really saw her struggling with it all, seeing the cracks in the mask appear, and now things have all come crashing down, and yet they still have the bigger plot line of, but we still got to fix this stuff. So it's a lot going on, but I'm really liking it. Some parts are a bit predictable, but I'm enjoying it. So and I do, I love being in this world. I really like our characters. So yeah, so I'm hoping that I'll get this finished by the end of this weekly reading vlog, which I'm gonna wrap up on Monday. I don't think that's actually going to happen though, so I don't think this is going to happen, but we can at least like make a good bit of progress in this vlog. I've been so ill this week that I have barely read. It's crazy how long this has taken me to read. I mean, even yesterday I was feeling so under the weather I didn't really pick this one up. I did pick up a different book because I had to go out for my physio appointment because I messed up my shoulder earlier in the month. Honestly, November's been a time. I messed up my shoulder early in the month. I'm now under physio for that. So I went to my second appointment yesterday. Then I've got ill, but I've also had really good moments as well of being on holiday and going to Yalk and things. I'm happy for this month to be over. I'm glad we're now in December. Yeah, November was not the one. But yesterday while I was traveling to the physio appointment, because it takes me about an hour and a bit by train to get there, I picked up Prince's Devil Court. I wanted something really easy to read that wasn't going to take much time. I wanted to at least be able to finish something this week because I mean, Labyrinth's Heart's not happening. In reality, trying to think, if I had read this instead of Prince's Devil Court, would I be able to finish this book this week? I still don't think so, actually, because this book, as much as it was 100 pages, it's not actually 100 pages because the pages are really small. Some of the pages are like this with just the illustration and no writing at all. I actually don't think that me fitting this in would have meant that Like, if I hadn't done that, I would have finished the other book. Like, I just don't think so. Plus, I was really in the mood for something different, and I really liked this. This was really good. So this is by Susan Hill. This is a ghost story that I pitch as, think about it like Frankenstein, but with souls. Instead of making a monster out of body part, instead you're transferring people's essence to reanimate the dead. Very interesting concept. I really enjoyed the concept of it. It is very much a ghost story. I think it is good for a cold evening where you just want to have like a spooky story, so like a Halloween evening or something. Would be quite good to read this one. We're following a main character who is junior doctor, so like they're still in training, and he has 3 other friends that he lives with that are all in training to be doctors as well, and 2 of them come up with this idea of reanimating the dead, and he kind of gets pulled into it. The only thing that I think would have been a lot more interesting is if we got to see the experiments behind it all, because our main character, the perspective we're following of his is that he gets ill, ends up in the countryside for a lot of things, so while his 2 friends, colleagues, are doing the experiments, we don't actually see them. We do see the end results, but we don't actually see any of the experimentation that went into it, which I think I would have preferred. But I think just the concept-based idea of this was quite good, and it's quite good for like a little quick spooky eerie read. I think the setting's done really well. It's set in London in winter, and it's all smoggy, and you know, I did enjoy it. I think the setting was really well done, but I do wish it could have been a longer book if we followed the other students and their obsession with it, and the way that they used their knowledge of the medical science to bring about this happening. I think that would have been really interesting, but alas, that did not happen in this one. But I still think it was a good read, and I kind of liked seeing this as like a different take on Frankenstein, minus the experiments and the scientific stuff behind it. But I thought it was really good, really creepy. So I'm pleased I at least got one book read this week, but I just love to say I'm going to get this done, but I just don't think it's going to happen, especially because tomorrow I'm actually going to Winter Wonderland with my partner. He loves going to Winter Wonderland. He likes to go every single year, and he always books it, and I was so worried that this week I was so ill that I wouldn't be better in time to go. Thankfully I am feeling better, so it should be absolutely fine. So that's planned tomorrow, so I just don't think I'm going to get much of this read. I will read a bit more. I will take my Kindle with me because I have it on Kindle, so I will read more of it, but I think maybe I'll get through maybe an extra 150 pages, but I don't think I'm going to finish it. But I am liking where it's going. I think the progression is expected, but also I'm enjoying it anyway. I think I stand by, it's not my favourite book in the series. I actually think the second book I really liked the most, but I am liking the way this is starting to wrap up. I'm going to get on and do a couple things. I want to try and start editing this vlog. I'm still trying not to do too much because obviously I want to let myself recover more for tomorrow. So I will read a bit more today, and we'll just see what happens. But I would also still like to get the bits done up on my wall, so I might get around to doing that. I'll catch up with you on Monday, and you never know, I could really shock both myself and you into actually finishing that book. You never know. Anyway, right, I'm going to stop rambling and go, and I will catch up with you Monday. afternoon. It's time to wrap up this vlog, and as you may be able to tell, I'm feeling a heck of a lot better, which is great. I feel like this week has been so long and so drawn out, and I know I've probably already mentioned that, but it has been. Oh man, being ill is not the one, but finally starting to feel a bit better. And you know what? As much as reading wise hasn't been that great this week, and we're going to get to that, I am really pleased with the progress that I've made in my room, being able to actually get things done. So like, I'm really pleased with how the wall turned out. I'm really happy with the vibe, the way that's all looking. Really pleased with how that's turned out. Finally got the shelves, the bookshelves, like the actual books onto it. The bottom shelf I never bothered showing you because that's more for like storage of home stuff, but it was really nice to see that actually I had 3 shelves free that I can use for books because it was getting a bit messy, the collection. I was going to film me actually putting books on there, but I was a bit too worn out and I just wasn't sure exactly what I want, and I'm still not exactly sure. I think I'm just going to overlay the footage here actually. The top shelf is kind of like some of my tarot cards and also books I want to read soon. The middle shelf is Greek mythology. I'm really happy with how that shelf has turned out. I really like that. I've always wanted my mythology books all together. It's not just Greek mythology, there is a couple of other mythology books. I mean a couple, like it's not much. I've mainly read Greek mythology books. The one underneath it is a bit more of a mismatch. That is, I mean, as you can see from the footage actually, it's double shelved, and I like that about these shelves because they're big enough to do that with. This was actually a test. These are the sort of shelves that I actually want when I move in with my partner. Eventually that's gonna happen, who knows when, but these are the sort of shelves that I really want for when I move. I'm really pleased that I managed to test it out and see, do I like these shelves, do I like the way they look, and do I like the sizing of them? And the sizing of them is perfect. So on that third shelf what I've got is historical fiction and contemporary books. So the first line is historical fiction that are on my TBR, going into contemporary books that I've read and I really like, because I only keep contemporary books if I really like them and I want to keep them for my shelves or I want to keep them to reread them. And then the books behind it on the left side is historical fiction that I've already read, which I want to keep hold of. And then behind that we've just got some YA hardback that don't fit anywhere else, and I had the space there and I thought, why not? We're just gonna shove those there, and that will do for now. It's not the prettiest shelf, but the way I've always done my shelves is if they're the lower down ones, you're not really seeing them, and so I don't really mind. You're only really seeing what's at the front, and that's fine. What's at the front, I like the way that looks. The stuff that's behind it is fine, it can stay behind it. I've always seen it as the shelves that are eye level and what you can see in videos are always the ones that I'm gonna make look the nicest, and everything else will fit in books where they fit because I have a big collection and the space doesn't match. But yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. As much as reading hasn't been the best, I'm really pleased with all the other bits I've got done this week. Which, talking about reading, I have read, actually I'm a bit further than this. So I'm now up to page 338. So I have not read loads of this book. Like, I mean, admittedly, I've been ill this week, so I've been reading very slowly. But even yesterday, I was feeling a lot better and I had time at my partner's and I could have read more there. And I did read a little bit. However, problem I've got with this book is I'm not enjoying it, and I feel absolutely gutted. And I was contemplating this because I'm not sure if I'm not enjoying it because it's taken me so long to get through it. It doesn't normally affect my enjoyment of a book, although I do find that if it's taken me ages, I kind of get a little bit like bored and want it over with. Having a week like that's not ages. It's the reality that I'm just not enjoying this book. The way it's been done is so disjointed. So I will find that if I pick up this book and I read a sub-chapter, because there are chapters within chapters, it's fine. I can read that chapter on its own. And sometimes we'll get a run where I can actually read a couple of chapters in a row and it's absolutely fine because those sub-chapters all link up to one another and it flows really nicely and it's great. But every so often, and not even every so often, sometimes it happens a lot, you're going to come across a sub-chapter that jars you, that goes from we were in this place and now we've had a skip and we're now in a completely different place and different things are going on and there's been no connection to flow between that, not even a mention that that's what they have to do next. And that's the part that's really jarring me, is I feel like we are missing a lot of connecting scenes that this book could do with. It's frustrating because although it's always been present in the first 2 books, it's never to this extent and it's just consistent. And I'm also at the point now where because I've been thinking about what I haven't been enjoying about this book, I'm also realising that some of the plot lines aren't needed. So if I think about it properly, the second book was my favourite. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like this third book had to do two things and two things only. One is the overarching plotline that's been going since the first book, and we've slowly been building up to it, so we need to wrap that up. But then we also have the fact that Wren's been spinning all of these plates, and we know that the truth is going to come out, and of course that had to happen in this book. However, I'm not agreeing with the way that they've had that happen. I also think that some of the stuff has been for convenience, and then it's not been addressed since. So like we had these trials that were going on and this extra complication that Wren was dealing with, but it hasn't added anything to the story. Nothing's come of it since. The revelations, she's dealing with it in some sense, but in the main sense of what you were expecting to deal with, you haven't had. You had it at the very first time like it was revealed, and then since then we've had nothing. And I'm feeling a bit frustrated because it feels like that plot line's just been dropped, and I know it's going to be picked back up again at the end, and I know how it's all going to wrap up, but it's really frustrating that that's what is going to happen. And that's another thing, this is feeling very predictable. It just feels messy, and because of the way it's been done in a way that's so disjointed for me to read, I'm not enjoying it. So I think this one's actually going to be a DNF, because like I really am enjoying this. Like I really love the characters, I really want to read and continue on with their story. However, every time I pick this book up, I'm then getting annoyed because I will get into it and I'm enjoying the plot thread that we're following, and then it will cut and change, but there's no connection, and I'm thinking, wait, what? How have we got to this? Like, where are we? And it takes me a moment, and that brings me out of the story, but it's happening all the time. So yeah, I don't know. I really want to read it because I want it all to finish, but at the same time, I feel like I know where it's going. I know how it's going to finish. And do I really want to keep frustrating myself with these chopping and changing parts? I don't know. What I might do is not fully DNF it for now. I might have it as my Kindle book for my lunch breaks, because lately at work I've not really been reading much at all on my lunch breaks at all. So I feel like what I can do is just dip in and out of this one and do that across the month, and then I will get this book finished. And then maybe by doing it that way I will enjoy it more, because I will have more of a break, because it will probably be a case of I read 2 sub chapters and then that's it. I've been enjoying like watching YouTube and like chilling out on my lunch breaks rather than actually reading loads. I might do that. That's what I'm thinking. And then by the end of December, hopefully we'll have this finished. But it's definitely not a book that I'm able just to sit there and read loads of. Like even when I planned to yesterday, because before we were going out, my partner was wanting to game, and I was like, okay, cool, I've got my Kindle book with me, I really want to read more of this. I still couldn't. I'm sitting there, I'm starting to get into it, and then after about 30 minutes I'm like, no, this has changed again, I'm not enjoying it, and then I'm putting it down and I'm doing something else, and then I'll come back to it and I'll be like, okay, cool, I'm ready, I can read that bit now, and then it will stop and to start again, and I'm like, oh, it's just, I'm not enjoying the way that this has been put together, and I do feel like some of those scenes are out of order and it's not been kind of rectified in a way that makes sense for me, which is really frustrating. So I just feel like I kind of want to split this book up and put everything in the order that I want to read it in, and then it will flow so much better. We would still be missing some connecting things here and there, but it would just be a bit easier to read. But this is, it's not the one, which I'm so disappointed because I was so excited to read this. I'm going to try finish it over the course of December. We'll see how it goes. But I did finish one other book this week, as we know, and that is The Printer's Devil Court by Susan Hill. This was just a fun, short, quick story, and I'm really pleased that I read at least something this week that I liked. I liked the concept of this. I like the ghost story and the question of, can we transfer souls and would that reanimate the dead? I like that idea. I think it was really interesting. So yeah, I did enjoy it. It's just a shame that this week hasn't been what I wanted it to be. I started off with so like, yeah, I'm going to be so productive. I've got a book that I'm really excited to read. I've got loads of plans that I want to do for my room. And the room stuff got done. Being ill and then having a book that I haven't enjoyed, like I just feel like this week's been a bit all over the place. I hope you've enjoyed it regardless. So yeah, you'll have to let me know. Do you ever find that with a series that sometimes the final book is what lets you down? And do you find that ruins the series as a whole or not for you? Because I'm pretty good that I will happily reread the first and second book and then just not read the third one again. Like that won't bother me. I mean, also because I'm really good at not finishing series, but I feel like this is also why I put off finishing series. When this happens and it doesn't work, that final book,
it's really frustrating. Yeah, you'll have to let me know. I'm gonna stop talking. We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all doing really well, which I know I start off with saying, but it's been such a long week that I'm just like, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all doing okay. I feel like December's always a really busy month anyway, and I did not need to start it being ill. But yeah, okay, anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I've got plenty to do today. We should get on and do all of that. So if you've made it this far, as always, I'm impressed and thank you so much. Put a mask emoji if you've made it this far. So thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it that thumbs up, subscribe and comment. Those 3 things really help this channel grow. My social media links and anyone I've mentioned will be linked below. And I will, of course, catch you in the very next video.